A complete and utter fool!
Lebrinelle continues to pour her heart out. She's had enough to say that she's sick of it to death. All her days, the damsel had been pulling a lot of innocent people into her problems. She just tried to say the least, taste what people would call peace. Her heart, mind, soul was full of wrath. However, she couldn't handle the exhaustion. Meeting Prius was the only thing she needed to finally pull the plug. So, as she inhales, Lebrinelle slowly positions the dagger to her neck. Slight trickles of blood caressed her collar. She closes her eyes as her dam of tears continuously fall. And as she wept, the weather had gotten worse. Rain began falling from the heavens, paired with gloomy gray skies as if it's trying to match the pain she's suffering. But no, nothing can compare, or even fathom all the atrociousness she's feeling.
And we meet again, my old flame. Fortunately, I will have to let go of you permanently this time, because your disturbance to this country is unacceptable. Besides, it's rather irritating to deal with your nonsense at this point.
Prius takes slow and gentle steps toward Lebrinelle, careful not to startle her. Once he is within inches of her, a single tap is placed on the wrathful goddess's shoulder. Lebrinelle swiftly looks behind and sees the individual grinning slightly in front of her.
You must be unequivocally delusional if you plan to try and disturb me from doing my... how shall I say this? Job. Who even are you anyway? And how long did it take you to gather your courage just to try to talk to me?
Firstly, I spent no time collecting anything you're talking about. Furthermore, I have a confession to make.
Nice try, bad timing. I'm not interested in whatever you intend to accomplish. Next time, may you try. Or not.
I have forgotten how bloody talkative she is. Oh, and why did I tell her that I loved her?
You've got nerves, lad. But you have a point. Fine, if you must be that stubborn. Do not mess anything up, or you will be turning into one of my feeble-minded servants as well.
We need help. We badly need it.
Close your mouths, will you? Are you all this clueless? Can't you see that you're ruining the moment?
To all gods and goddesses watching me from above, I wish only for the success of what I'm about to commit. Empower me with strength, both physically and mentally, as I perform the last phase of this mission.
Prius takes another set of light steps towards Lebrinelle, who is peacefully resting after a usually long day of demolition. He spots a dagger situated beside the goddess, carefully polished for its next interaction. Hardly did Prius make any noise as he took it.
Oh, Lebrinelle. Did you seriously presume that you would get away with what you have done to Hastinya? Had you known where this mortal sin would take you, I believe you will never follow through with your intentions. You must feel powerful. Superior even. However, just like your seemingly excellent plan, you must be condemned for your actions as well. What is this? This simply cannot be happening. She was asleep. This is impossible. This must be a figment of my imagination. I demand another chance. Another opportunity.
Are you out of your bloody mind? Who commanded you to try and end my life? What kind of mindset were you raised with? You have guts, don't you? I told you not to play with me, and instead, you do the opposite. Making a mockery out of me and underestimating my capabilities. You will regret it! All of it!
Lebrinelle arrives while sweeping. Tears were falling from her eyes as she suddenly knelt, breathing heavily. Countless thoughts flooded her mind. Her grip on the weapon tightened, sobs being the only thing audible aside from the sound of nature, with birds chirping and a cold wind gushing ever so slightly.
How could I have been so witless? I should have known it was him all along. I shouldn't have interacted to begin with. I even went as much to say that I wasn't interested. How dare you ruin me again? What have I even done wrong? Who told me that I deserved to live this way? So exhausted am I to deal with this that I cannot stand to live anymore. He's a fool, I say. A complete and utter fool.
Lebrinelle continues to pour her heart out. She's had enough. Enough to say that she's sick of it to death. All her days, the damsel had been pulling a lot of innocent people into her problems. She just tried to say the least, taste what people would call peace. Her heart, mind, soul was full of wrath. However, she couldn't handle the exhaustion. Meeting Prius was the only thing she needed to finally pull the plug. So as she inhales, Lebrinelle slowly positions the dagger to her neck. Slight trickles of blood caress her collar. She closes her eyes as her dam of tears continuously fall. And as she wept, the weather had gotten worse. Rain began falling from the heavens, paired with gloomy gray skies as if trying to match the pain she's suffering. But no, nothing can compare, even fathom all the atrociousness she's feeling.
A past I never deserved. An attitude considered absurd. Maybe they were right. If I died, peace would be restored, right? Is this how my life was supposed to go?
Swiftly, she slits her throat, releasing her final breath shortly after. Just like that, the goddess herself was done with the world, so she ends her life as well.
I'm not entirely sure as to what I had expected. However, I must say that I never saw this coming.
Agreed. This will be tougher than I had envisioned.
An intriguing discussion is held amongst all gods and goddesses as they have just witnessed an unexpected event. Surprisingly, not all of them are on the same page. Teline and Altir reckon that Lebrinelle's passing is such a relief. Karuz and Veldan, on the other hand, are enraged. All Enzo's the leader could do was to watch him argue while trying to think of a reasonable decision.
With the goodness's grace, it has finally ended. Hastinya can finally breathe without constantly getting ravished by that monster of a woman.
I can undoubtedly say the same. We've been nervously observing the way she ravages and scars the townspeople every single day. Lebrinelle is now at peace, and so are the humans who survived her disastrous being.
The two goddesses let out long relieved sighs as they look upon the crystal ball which showed Lebrinelle's dead body. Though, both Karuz and Veldana did not let this pass by. They looked at both Teline and Altir with fire displayed in their eyes and smoke coming out of their ears.
Are you seriously out of your incorrect state of mind? You think it's a good thing that she killed herself? Unbelievable! Tell me you aren't letting this go to line. I know you're better than this. You handle trial and justice, and this is what you come up with?
Do not use that tone on me, Karuz. I know what I'm doing. Do not degrade nor underestimate me, because I believe you're aware of the consequences.
Ha! Unbelievable! Why don't you follow what you've just implied as well? Maybe then we'll agree with each other.
I couldn't agree more. What is it with both of you suddenly submitting to the fact that, oh, how relieved are we to see the fall of the goddess of wrath? If you had even a small amount of conscience left in that brain of yours, You would be furious about how she just decided to kill herself without even being punished for what she's done.
Think of the lives she might have caused if she didn't kill herself. Think of the rest who might have experienced the same things as what the late victims had. Lebrinelle could have done more than what she's already laid on the table.
Oh, do you mean that the lives she had just taken do not carry such value? Is that what you're implying? She's a coward for doing... You know what I mean? A coward!
That is not what this is about. We are just saying how she could have taken away more lives than she had for the past decade. Imagine if she were to still be alive. What might have happened to Hastinya if we let her live? She can obviously destroy this nation, and we will be immediately removed from the face of this planet. Do you want that to happen?
A heated argument between the four continued. Several contradictions were thrown at one another. Enzos looks at them and lets out a tired sigh, reaching for his nose bridge as he tightly clutches into it.
These four are such heavy burdens, like big boulders placed in each of my shoulders.
Conformato regulae et spiritibus, mi auxilium tum in altum opus ut nunc. Conformato regulae et spiritibus, mi auxilium tum in altum opus ut nunc. Conformato regulae et spiritibus, mi auxilium tum in altum opus ut nunc.
Slowly, the crystal ball seems to be letting out one big pink-colored force that had split into two. Karuz, Vildana, Altir, and Taline have noticed the heavy atmosphere, and so they turned around, all gasping in shock as they saw the red and white cloaked woman finally out of the crystal ball. The spirit of wrath and the spirit of compassion. Enzos let out a shaky breath with a smile now plastered upon his face. Arms were opened wide as he welcomed the two women.
Oh, I am glad to see that you have responded to my call, Almighty Spirits.
And so we've heard. What is the reason for you to summon us?
In regards to the goddess of wrath, Lebrinelle,
Goddess Lea Sabrine Marinelle Bonanza. We were just about to accompany her to the underworld before we heard your calls. What about her, exactly?
Before Enzos could even say a word, Vildana immediately made her way in front of the spirits and began to tell them the situation. Both spirits were in absolute confusion as they continued to listen to the goddess of virtuous and righteous explanation.
As of now, we are deciding whether or not we should keep her alive. Here, I'm choosing the latter, Almighty Spirits.
The spirits looked at one another and let out deep breaths. They did not expect such things to happen, but they weren't so surprised about the fact that the goddess of wrath herself has done this. The spirit of wrath turns and looks at Valdana. Seemingly trying to see through her, the goddess herself nervously gulps, obviously intimidated by the way that the red-spirited woman was looking at her.
I suppose me and my sister here have made our decisions. May you tell the news, Compassion?
Some of you may not assent to what I'm about to say, and some of you might consider doing the opposite. As Wrath and I discussed this matter, we have concluded that Lebrinelle must be kept alive. What she did is surely unforgivable, and she must be severely punished for it.
Vildan and Karuz let out sighs of contentment as they looked at Taline and Altir, whose bodies sapped upon hearing the spirits of compassion's words. Taline had not expected this. She was not used to it. She was not used to being disagreed with. She had always known her judgments were correct. Even those who praised her knew her for her accuracy and perception.
Enzos, you are then allowed to perform any kind of spell, ritual, or curse on the goddess. Anything shall do as long as you get her to live once again. For eternity, even.
No, we can't and should not do that. Fine, we will have to acknowledge to keep her breathing, but I beg of you not to let her live eternally, dear Almighty Spirits. Enzos, please don't do this. Have mercy to all those who have suffered endlessly by her hands.
Taline, get up from there. This is not what you should be doing. Enzos, please. You must be diplomats. Think about it. What have you ought to accomplish by doing such a thing?
Gather your senses to line. Never would Ensos consider performing such a preposterous action, right?
As you wish, the almighty spirit of wrath.
Juramenti huius benedicti bi praestare valet tanto modo prose rationem probatus spiritum. Nuper a me maledicere dum erae dies resurgere a mortui et vivere in aeternum. Hoc erit ei poena illa pro animabus, quae capta sunt, quae non dantur justitiam.
Hello? Where am I? What? No! This is impossible! Am I the delusional one now? What is going on? I thought I passed away! I thought I was in peace! Who told me that I had to live once again? The courage this person must have had. Show yourself!
Lebrinelle, how lovely it is to see you.
Wow. Where does everyone get their medal? Who are you? How dare you try and disrupt how I'm feeling?
I mean no harm. All I want is to know if you're fine. I've been wandering around these woods for quite some time now, and I saw you lying on the ground, so I came to see if you need any help.
Do you genuinely expect me to ask for help from a middle-class citizen like you?
I sincerely apologize, but it's only a display of my utmost compassion towards people.
Enough of this utter nonsense. I cannot be seen with you. That would be ignominious to a person of my standing. Do you know who you're messing with? Surely not. You would be filled with respect if you did. Stay away from me!
If I were you, I'd listen to my statements as well.
Without warning, Valdana lunges forward, jumping as she tries to hit Lebrinelle. If she hadn't underestimated the abilities of the wrathful goddess, her job would have been heaps easier. Lebrinelle completely evades this, which resulted in the fall of the other goddess, causing a dull thud. Lebrinelle carefully watched her every move, weaving back and forth as Valdana helped herself up and took a stance, letting out a quiet hiss as she felt pain wind upon her body. The goddess of wrath tilts her head, anticipating an attack or two, but Valdana has something else in mind. She stuck her right hand out, with 2 fingers taunting Lebrinelle to do the first move, causing the goddess to do so. Lebrinelle screams in rage as she runs forward. Valdana positions herself and waits for Lebrinelle to reach her. With a jump, she raises the hand that held her dagger while Valdana stayed still. Once Lebrinelle was just a few inches away from her, Valdana then uses her weapon, a spear, in her hand and swings it at Lebrinelle. The goddess of wrath rolls over yet immediately stands up. She was furious. No, everything in her was filled with pure wrath. They began to run forward and jump, raising both their weapons in the air as they tried to hit one another. This then resulted in a massive collision. Around them, leaves and branches slapped and bounced. A frenzy to be expected moves as so fluid and whip-like. Truly a worthy fight between lionesses and a battle between roses possessing thorns. Both goddesses spent hours fighting, damaging, and nearly killing each other. Lebrinelle had never looked as severe as she did now, all thanks to the onslaught she had received from Valdana. As for the other goddess, she looked even more appalling than Lebrinelle. There were twice the bruises, scars, and gashes the goddess of wrath had. Miraculously, the goddess of the virtuous and righteous still had a tiny amount of strength left. Using this to her greatest advantage, she took out one last blow on Lebrinelle, causing her to fall to the ground.
Alright, you're stubborn, but you got skills. What do you even want from me anyway? Do you want to kill me again? Put me back to sleep? To be honest, I don't mind.
Has anyone ever told you how much of a chatterbox you are? Seriously, even if I tied a piece of cloth over your mouth, you would continue talking nonsense. Will you please shut it? Like, just this once.
Who told you to talk to me that way? Treat me with respect.
Did I tell you to talk? No! I told you to do the opposite. You're doing a surprisingly fair job of keeping your mouth closed. I hope it stays that way, as we are about to go to another location. Oh, we're here. I'm glad the chattiness lessened throughout the journey. Go first. Be grateful because I'm being nice to you as of this moment.
Oh, really? Well, I'm glad you weren't as bullheaded as before. Now that I think about it, you could have just murdered me back there. I don't have to die in front of an audience, do I?
Good day. I go by the name Enzos. Valdana is one of my acquaintances. No need to be frightened by us. We won't have to hurt you any longer. Now,
Why would I be afraid? Am I secretly extremely intimidating to you?
When I say she won't stop conversing, I mean it. Ouch! Am I supposed to sew your mouth closed? Or does Anzus have to perform another curse?
you were brought here because of your actions. The destruction you've caused. The lives you've taken away. The relationships you've destroyed. Have you no shame?
No, I don't! I shouldn't be the only person to go through something as severe as this. It's simply unfair for me.
It's also unfair for others. Look at your servants. Hear what they have to say. Maybe if someone finally spat out the cruelty you fed them, you would come back to collect the conscience you'd thrown away long ago.
Wrath broke you, didn't it? It broke you so much that you could even pass it on to us. We dreaded each day with you. It's one thing to keep your eyes open for someone you have no choice but to follow. Yet, it's another thing to keep your heart open and full of love when you're constantly surrounded by its nemesis.
You made us suffer, left us to take care of ourselves. To be honest, you abused our capabilities. You had the potential, Lebrinelle. You were given the chance to turn those negative experiences around and live your life to the absolute fullest. The only problem, the only flaw you've ever had is that you let your past take over your present without thinking about what the future may have been.
Have you ever doubted your so-called perfection? If not, I think that's what hindered you from being. Though it's impossible at this point, merciful. All the power is yours. You've got no flaws. That's how your brain works. You're weak, Lebrinelle, and it shows. You look unblemished, but if we were to be realistic, you will always be far from it. Throughout our suffering, the three of us have shared, and are still sharing, the same thought. Out of everything you could have done, why did you choose to take this path?
The crimes you've committed without realizing. Look what you've done! Do you see it? Do you? I bet you're speechless. Did your mouth evaporate all of a sudden? Or you're just acting like you did nothing wrong?
Valdana, we're here to fix barbarism, not add to it.
The line's right. Valdana, minus the way you stated it. I see your point. Lebrinelle, learn from your mistakes. Restore happiness in the smiles of the people around you. Luckily, I've cursed you to live for eternity. I'm sure it's enough time, isn't it?
Enzos wipes a drop of sweat off his face. As he gestures to his left, unexpectedly, there was someone who had been listening to the entire conversation.
And we meet again. I apologize for not being able to contribute to the mission in the way Valdana wanted. But there's nothing I can do about it now.
No! My life is already chaotic as it is! You cannot do this to me! Please! There's no point in pleading. I won't be followed anyway. I never wanted my life to end up like this!
Unreal! Had you not been driven by your feelings, I would have never felt the need to... I can't believe I'm saying this. Help you! These gods and goddesses would have one less of a problem to deal with if your considered actions didn't exist!
Prius, you absolute liar! The impulsiveness you possess. Let me remind you, I am the god of veracity, and I know a fever when I see one. Now, express the truth, and only the truth.
You must be an imposter of the real Karus. I am telling you the truth. This is me being transparent. Fortunately, I'm even acting this way.
Prius! How is it possible that you're this oblivious? I'm in shock. Just think about it. If you wanted to help me, why did you abuse me in the first place? Why did you try to murder me?
Look, let me explain to you in a calm and collected manner for once.
No! Say the genuine truth! We watch your every move, Prius, because we recruited you to successfully carry out our master plan!
Couldn't be more deafening, Valdana. Prius, please don't attempt another train of lies because you know that the truth will be set free anyways. Try being honest just this once. We've had absolutely plenty of those lies for today.
How lovely. Alright. I give up. There is another point I've hidden for quite a while, and it has driven me to perform this criminal action. You are gods and goddesses, but you can't see better than a plebeian as I could. There is no second chance. No punishment is greater than death. To live is to repent, and she does not deserve it.
Did you think that we'd expect someone like you to disobey us? You wanted Lebrinelle to learn. Honestly, thank Valdana for coming up with this mission, because it gave you a better opportunity to pursue your objective.
Yes, I indeed wanted to teach Lebrinelle the lesson she has been neglecting to learn all her life. But I didn't wish to go to this much extent as bring a dead person back to life, for goodness sake!
Oh, don't even get me started on that, Prius. Even if you hadn't expected this, you still wanted to make her regret this, one way or another.
Enough. This is completely absurd. Never have I seen such a chaotic and unmethodical group of individuals in one sitting. What is the point of making an argument when you all can't even come to a unanimous decision? Since many of you can't make any valid reasonings, I'll be doing such actions without approval from any of you, effective immediately.
After hearing the rage in Enza's voice, the dim-lit cave turned silent. This was a first. Though he held authority, Enza's temper would never drastically rise. This surprised everyone. Fear was scattered throughout the group. Altir shakes her head, and beside her stood Talain, who was numb from everything. Karus closes his mouth, hearing Enza's voice, though Valdana still can't comprehend this.
If we hadn't done such a mission, we would have gotten Lebrinelle under control by now. She needs to pay for what she's done to this country. And what she did is absolutely beyond good moral conduct, and I'm sure everyone is aware of it.
That does not give you an excuse to be so disgraceful. That is not a valid reason to go against me, and I believe you know better, Valdana. You have not only shown such immoral behavior, but as well as disobeying me. I know you are a goddess of your own, but never forget that you'll have to go through me first before doing such things. I'm done tolerating you.
What are you trying to say?
Valdana weakens upon hearing Enza's words. She felt like her whole world was crumbling. All her life she has done nothing but to do what she thinks is right for the people and their leader. Now she sees him staring right at her, eyes filled with anger. Valdana looks over her fellow god and goddesses. Celine was shaking her head. Altair was not even willing to look up, and Karuz, her only companion, had his vision somewhere else. The realization had struck her too late. Only did the goddess discern what harm she had caused. It hurt her to see how badly she had damaged them in a short period, just like how Lebrinelle did to all those people.
No. No, please, no! You can't do this to me!
You gave me no choice, Valdana. Quod factum peccatum et poena oportit, ex hoc ego eiecite de hoc mundo ad inferis. Lucius Annaeus Seneca sed post saeculum hoc et tu eris ustum ire.
With those words, the unpredictable pair was gone from Hastinya and the entire face of the planet. Enzus looks over to the three mortals and walks to them, nodding in an acknowledgement as he leaves the cave.
They're finally gone.
So is Valdana.
She will come back, Karuz. Now, we can finally breathe freely knowing that Hastinya will continue to go on peacefully in the centuries to come.
Nothing lasts forever. Lives will once again be at risk, and so will Hastinya.
Justice will be provided.
However, will happiness ever be served?
Somewhere in the dark, we meet again and never part. In whatever you do, someone's looking after you. This tale is cautionary, extraordinary. No need to be wary, but you should be wary, 'cause we are the seven unleashed. Qua destruitum ne virum, quod nere non semper est dolor. Vos amoris ofere
Hell will rise, my king. Soon. I warned you, my king. A terrible tragedy will descend upon us because of your wrath.
This is dreadful. I simply cannot stand him.
I can hear you from here, Your Majesty.
This is just a waste of my time. You're wasting my time.
I guess you're still a coward, Queen. Micah got hurt by a few words. You sure you deserve the title of the Queen.
So this is how you wanna play the game? Well then, I'll show you how it's played.